This conference will now be recorded.
I'm so sorry. Okay, right now we get to know Japanese are trading their coins using this methodology. They will be telling to all the other peoples in that village. So every people will be having their mental note of these things. Like, okay, this coin belongs to the person A, or the other coin side by the ocean belongs to the person B. They will be having their mental a note. And even if someone comes and tells, like, say person C, and he will try to come and interfere in that note, and he will tell the coin just beside to the ocean belongs to me, the villagers won't be admitting, because they all having the mental note like this coin actually belongs to the person A and not to the person C. So but even there is a chances the people can even lie to those they can unite themselves, and they can tell, no, this the coin actually belongs to some other person, not to the person A. So at this time what exactly happens in the sense, this situation will make their own coins like dishonest, in the sense there are chances of losing their own coins. This is a story of rice stores. So exactly I will tell you, like, by taking this story as a reference, let me try to explain you people how exactly this concept works in our blockchain system. Exactly, here also there is no money, there is no physical money. It will be having it will be generated just by doing some tasks, just by doing some risk, or just by doing some efforts. Like, the coins will be generated, and these coins will be transferred, and each and every transaction will be just set to all the peers. So each and every peer will be having the information. So this coin belongs to a person A, this coin belongs to the person B. So when you are transferring, also when doing any operations on the coins, you will be
Just a
when you are
minute, sir.
transferring.
Sorry to disturb you. Sir, your PPT is not moving on. It's still on. How do you?
No, no, no. I'm just explaining. It's not moving. I'm not moving actually. It's like for that explanation, I'm doing that.
Okay, sir.
So sorry. I just lost. Okay, we get to know how these apps trade their coins, and we get to know what exactly happens when the like what exactly happens in the blockchain. So here also in the blockchain, it sorry, in Bitcoin or in Bitcoin cryptocurrency blockchain, it works as the same. For example, a person A wants to send a money to person C. You will just initiate the transaction. It will be just transferred to all the people in the peer. The peers will be having all the informations, like from the start of the node to the end of the node. These people will be having complete transaction history. For example, this day the person A transferred money to person B, the person B transferred the money to person C. They will be having a list of transactions. So right now these peoples will be having all the as they have the distributed ledger system, each and every person is having their own copy of ledger. It is impossible to make those people dishonesty opinion. So like in the future slides, we will be giving I will be giving a live demo, like how exactly this blockchain system works. So we'll just see how exactly this blockchain system works in actually blockchain system or in the Bitcoin system. So there are a lot of things we need to understand in a blockchain. The first one thing, the basic one, is called as hashing. Before that, anyone is having any doubt regarding this thing? How come person A earns the stone? See, this is like the person A can get his own coin, or he can just mine his own coin. From that it starts. The first one, the first thing, the in future things, we will be having how the first Bitcoin is mined, right? So there you will be getting that answer. I will be just moving. So this is a before getting started to the actual, like how exactly the blockchain works. First, we will understand hashing. What exactly is a hashing? Hashing is a method where you pass something, and you will be always getting a fingerprint of that thing, and which is not changeable. For example, if you type something hello, you got some hash. This is a 256 SHA 256 hash. wherever if you enter you will be getting the same hash, and this will be having this the hashing is there for null value also. This is a null value and even that is having a hash. You can enter whatever you want, always the size remains the same. How much you want to enter, the size always remains the same. Even for example, just see hello, check the first four letters. This is 2CF2. So wherever you enter hello, you always get the same results 2CF2. This is called hashing. Hashing in the sense converting a plain text into a digital fingerprint. So like it won't be like it will be used for recognize like this is the thing, like nothing has been changed. For example, if you start typing something, the hash will be keep on changing, as you can see. This is used for the validations. The best part about this hashing in the sense you can only convert into some digital fingerprint. From the digital fingerprint you can't again change it back to the original data. For example, there is a hello and you got this hash. From this hash you can't never get this hello again. There are some methods you can get, but like this is a very hard process to again do all these things. For example, there is a this is a brute force method. I'm just telling for allow this thing, for allow one you can just have it, but that is not the scope of this whole session or something. So I'm just like leaving. So like what do you want to understand in the sense? The hash is like if you pass some data or if you pass some message, you will be getting a digital fingerprint of that particular data. So we understand what exactly is a hash. So blockchain is actually consists of a blocks. It's a chain of blocks. This is right now we have a one particular block of it. You can see there is a hash also. We have a number. This number is block number one. This is a nonce. I'll just come back to you what exactly is a nonce. And you can see the hash zero, it starts with the four zeros. This is very unlikely because hash you can't make that like it is very unlikely to get this four zeros at the starting of the hash. I'll tell you why. So I'll just enter this data over here. Can you see the whole block has become red? In the sense, see, this is the uh, hash of this particular thing. This is the hash of the block number, nonce, and the data. This is not only the hash of the data. This is the hash of block, nonce, and allow. This is where exactly the nonce will come up. How this block will be validated are the signed in the sense the nonce data and the block has to make a hash in a such a way it has to start with the four zeros. This is just for a demonstration purpose. The four zeros in the sense that is a difficulty level in blockchain or in the Bitcoin system. The difficulty level will be keep on changing based upon the current situations or something like that. The difficulty level will be keep on changing. Right now think the difficulty level is very low, so we need to get four zeros. How do we do this four zeros? So we need to keep on changing the values of nonce. If you change it to 1, did we get four zeros? No, we didn't get. So we change it to 2. No, we didn't get 4. So we need to keep on changing from 1 to like how many times it's possible. So at certain point of time, we will be getting the proper hash that starts with the four zeros. The first four zeros which starts the, this process is actually called as mining. So I have here there is a little function to just make our job very uh, easy. We don't need to like we don't have any time to like just keep on typing 1 2 3 4 5 and till infinity to just check like what exactly which will starts from the four zeros. So I'll just use this mine button, so it will start mining at certain point. So for now I got a nonce number 32,094. When this there is a 32,904, this thing is called as signed. Even if you change one of the things, again the thing will become invalid. So again you need to sign. So right now the nonce can be different. So if you mine it again, you will be getting a new nonce number. So right now the nonce is 80,060. So the concept is similar. The data and the block and the nonce makes the hash right now. Even a single change will make the hash differ, but the end point end goal of this whole hash has to start with the 4 zeros. So right now we need to increase the nonce in such a way we will get the hash of 4 zeros at the starting. So this is the whole concept. Any doubts till now? Any doubts? Okay. So we understand blocks. So blockchain actually consists of such these blocks. It's a chain of all these blocks. I'll explain you why it is called as chain of all these blocks. So now we are clear with hashing methodology, and now we know what exactly a one block is. So right now we'll go for a blockchain. What exactly is a blockchain? See, blockchain is nothing but all these blocks chained together. For example, you can see there is a ash. This ash is a ash of previous one. So this ash is a ash of previous one. So this is all chained. For example, at starting, this is called as a genesis block. Genesis block is the first block which is of the blockchain. So the address won't be having any hash. So it starts with a 0000. So right now it got one hash, and this will be used as a previous hash for the next block. So these two are chained. So the same thing happens for all the blocks. So right now, if I want to change it over here, if I want to change some data over here, for example, I'll give hello over here. Can you see like the thing has been changed? So it is not signed right now because the hash value doesn't start with the 000. So this is fine. You can just mine it and you can make it all right. So I got a nonce number that is at 58,683 or 683. So this block is signed right now. But what exactly it makes difference is if you go to the start of this blockchain, for example, at second block or third block, say I want to add a data over here. Okay, if I want to make a data over here, again this hash is changed. Right now this hash is made up of previous block hash and the data and the nonce and the block number. Right now we need to make it in such a way this has to produce a hash. With the help of nonce it has to start with the 4 zeros. That is the goal of this whole thing. So I'll start mining this thing. This is the second block. Still I have 3 to 4 blocks at the top. As you can see, I just mined this thing, but you can see here this is not mined because this right now the hash has been changed here. You can see the ash is being changed here, and here the ash is changed. So to make it proper you need to mine this block also, just like this. After that you need to mine this block also, and you need to mine this block also. So what do you understand in the sense, the more the older data or the more the older blocks, it is very hard to mine, it is very hard to manipulate it, or it is very hard to mutate it. So right now what exactly is a blockchain in the sense, the each and every blocks, it will be interconnected with their ashes to the next block. So this is how all this works. This is the concept of blockchain. But this is for the one. For example, I have this blockchain. I have all the time in the world. I will change whatever I want, and I start mining this thing. How this blockchain is very secure. I'm ready to spend the time right now, so I'll just start mining all these things, just like this. So if I start mining all these things, I will be getting the data back. Like my blockchain is safe, like everything is green, right? So my blockchain is safe. But like this is not the real case scenario in the blockchain world. Actually, we will be having a distributed blockchain system. What exactly distributed in the sense? The blockchain, for example, here this is a peer A. This is one person using our. This is a one node who is having a blockchain. This is a peer two. This is a peer three. If you can observe, all the people will be having the same hash at the end, in the sense the same copy of the ledger, all these things. For example, if you can see here, the hash starts with e4b triple 4 zeros, e4b 9. Can go to the second peer, even is hash and ends with four zeros E4B. Even the third also ends with sorry, starts with four zeros E4B. So it tells all these ledgers are same. So right now think like these are different persons. We just tell this is a person A and this is a person B and this is a person C. So person B is having his own blockchain. So what he wants to do in the sense, he will edit some of the transaction. In the sense, think like right now everyone is having the same ledger. Right now, one of the user, what he will do, he will edit something. He will just add up a few data and he'll start mining that thing to make look it like the legit one. So he'll just mine all the blocks of his own blockchain, and he will tell the word, or he will tell the system, or he will tell the distributed network like this is the valid one. So the distributed network, for example, the peer a checks for the hash is, if you can see, it starts with four zeros and E4B, and other person which is a C, he also checks his hash also starts with 04 E4B. But the person who just edited something is as starts with 049BAE. So just by visualizing we can tell there is something wrong with this block. So this particular block, or this particular block is considered as it will be discarded because it is malfunctioned or something. So the majority wins here, the A and B. There is a little democracy over here. So the A and C decides, the B is a invalid data. So like it's very hard for any person to just edit or mutate something out of the like in a blockchain. So because there is a network of people, those peoples will be examining, because each and every ledger, each and every copy of a database, think it is like a database. Each and every copy of a database will be with all the other people. So like even if you change any single updations in your database, the other databases will prove like you have done a updation, so your database will be discarded. So you need to again download the current ledger copy and you need to continue with the blockchain system. This is how it works. So it is very hard for anyone to just edit or something. So this is how a distributed blockchain system works. So any doubts till now? Okay. So right now we understand what exactly is hashing. We get to know what is a block. We know like how a blockchain is, and we know what is a distributed block. So the block is having a certain amount of data. So blockchain is just chaining with each and every blocks. So distributed in the sense the same blockchain will be distributed between the people, the same ledger. This is called a distributed ledger. The same data set will be with the every other person. This is a distributed ledger means. So right now we understand the whole concept. The next concept right now we have is tokens. Till now we were only doing with the data, but right now we have the transaction data details. For example, if we can go here, this is a block one. We have a nonce, and here if you can see, there is a $25 which is being transferred from Darcy to Bingley, and here there is a transaction from Elizabeth to Jane, like $4.27. All these are a transaction that is actually called a tokens, and all the other things are just same over here. For example, here there is a hash, just the same thing, and this is of a peer A, and even peer B is also having all these amount, in the sense this is the same database, or this is the same copy even the peer B is having, even the same copy the peer C is having. Even if you change anything anywhere, the whole database will be wrong. So again you just need to mine and make it proper. If you even make it proper, the other persons will be having the complete original copy of it. Just to show, I'm just showing it. So here the hash is it starts with four zeros, double one BC, but right now the pair B is having the other hash triple zero B double A, but like it will again check with the one more pair because the majority wins over here. So it checks with the other pair. Here also starts with triple zero BAA. So the B and A are correct. So it is it's a common practice to know like the PSC has done something, some changes over here. So this is how the tokens here it will be having a complete transactions of it. Like for example, this person has transferred to this. It will be having a complete transactions, and the transaction doesn't have like each block should have only this many of transactions. You can have how many transactions it want. Some block will be having a very less transactions, and some block will be having more transactions, and even there is a possibilities few blocks won't be having any transaction. There is a possibilities like that. So this is a token concept where the blocks will be right now we are getting very near to how exactly the real world blockchain like Bitcoin and all these things works. So right now we have a transactions, but we have a one problem here. We know like Darcy is sending $25 to Bingley, but do we actually know like Darcy is having $25? That is a question. So right now we are going to look how we can do that, like if Darcy is having a $25 or not. So this is how it will be. For example, here this is the thing out of a thin air, in the sense the first mined coins, the first release of the coins, the owner has all the thing. He can send his own coins to some person just like that. He got his first. He sent his first coins to Andres. So right now Andres is having $100, if you can see. So this is his previous hash since because it is a Genesis block. The previous address is 0 and he's having a hash value of 4043. So the second thing, the Andres is Andres holds $100. As we know, he got it from the previous hash. If you can just go to this hash, this is the hash. This hash will refer to this thing. So we will just check whether Andres is having $100. Yes, Andres is having $100. He got it from in the previous hash. So right now only Andres is having the money. So Andres is start sending to their friends. For example, he sent to Sophia $10. He sent to Lucas $20, and he sent to Emily $15. So this transaction all will be kept in a block 2. Like that only the transactions keep on happening. And at the block 5, right now the Jaxer is sending Alexan the $100 $2. So right now the question is, do Jaxer is having this uh, amount? Like if he's sending a $2, this Jaxer is having a one. So the previous hash is here. The blockchain system will just go with the previous block. So previous block we can see the Jaxer is got $15. So yeah, Jaxer is having a $2. So it is authenticated. He can send $2 out of his $15. So this is how the balance system works in a blockchain. So each and every block will be having, each and every person will be having his records, like how much money is having and how much he can spend. All these things will be calculated. So again, the same ledger will be shared with all the other person, like peer B and peer C. If at any point, like even Andres wants to just change, no, he didn't receive $100, he received $150. Again, he needs to remine all the things. It is very easy to remine if it is at the top of the things. If it is at a very bottom of the layer, it takes like very computational powers. For example, here we are seeing we are just having a 5 blocks. If I change the one block, you just need to again mine all these blocks. If the blocks are in thousands, if the blocks are in 5,000 something and all, you just need to spend lot of computational power just to mine all these things. And right now, these nonce numbers are very low. We coded this. That is why it is taking very less time to figure out the nonce. But it in a very real world scenario, it will be very difficult. So this is how a blockchain and these things will work. Actually, this is a coin-based blockchain. This is exactly how the blockchain works. But one thing here is we have a Andres and Sophia. We have a names of the person. But in a real-world blockchain, we won't be having the names. We will be having their public key. So how exactly this public key thing works, like what exactly, for example, right now I have an account, I goes with certain account I will be having. What if some other person just come and just spend my coins over here? Because like this is a digital currency, this is a digital world, anything can be happen. Like we don't own any coins over here in this methodology. So right now, to answer that questions, we have something called as public and private keys. So let us just see what exactly that will do. So I think you people are understood till now, like what exactly it is. Any doubts till now? Before we go to this public key and private key, how exactly it was? Blockage. Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Yeah. Explain again how to generate a blockage. Cool. See, I'll just give you an example over here. Uh, See, we have three items. Just take A is there, uh, and B is there, and C is there. So we know A value is 1, and this data is like the value of C can be entered by a user. We just think. So we want to make a hash out of it. As you know, hash is something which takes something and it gives back the data in a very normal format, and we know the difficulty is 2x or something. So right now for the difficulty 2x, we just need to have 4 zeros at the starting. Just for the sake of explanation, I'm telling this, we need to have a 4 zeros at starting. So b is a nonce now. As you can see here, we have a block number, we have a nonce, and we have a data, and we have a hash. This actually, this block is already signed, that's why we have it in a green color, because it starts with the 4 zeros. But if you want to change something, the value starts changing. So it is not signed right now because it's not starting with the 4 zeros. So what we have to do right now, in the sense, even I want to enter the data. For example, think this is a transaction one. Someone, person A send money to person B. It has like so then the person B sends the money to person C. So the third transaction is D is sending money to Z. So these are the transactions. We know these are the transactions, but it is not signed yet. Now the mining thing will come. How do we make this data in the sense? For example, this is a nonce. So I will be keep on increasing this nonce. For example, I'll try with 1. I got the desired hash. No, I didn't get the desired hash. So I'll start with 2. I didn't get the nonce what I required. Hash I required. So again I try with 3. No, I didn't get 4, 5, 6. Like that I will be keep on increasing till I get the value which will make this hash starts with 4 zeros. So to do this process very easily, like we have something called as mining. This is what mining. We know how the hash should look like. It has to start with this thing. So we have already our data. If I add if I add something to this data, for example, I know how the hash should look like. This is the hash, and I have a data. Sorry for my drawing. So I have already have a data, and I have something called as nonce. So if I add this non to this data and combine, if I make a hash, this hash should look in a way which is already defined. For example, this hash right now I need to start with the 4 zeros. If I add 1, did it look like it? Did it starts with the 4 zeros? No. Did I? If I add 2, did it starts with the 4 zeros? No. So I will be keep on adding the numbers to it until this hash becomes 4 zeros. So here the same thing I will be doing. I will be keep on incrementing from 1 to whatever the numbers it takes. So at certain number like 92060, I'll get a hash which starts with the 4 zeros. You can even try 61, but it won't work. If you are like 59, it doesn't work. So when you again mine it, you will get the nonce number, the same nonce number, which will make this hash starts with the four zeros. Did I clear your doubt? No, it's not. It's not mandatory to have a four zeros. Just for the explanation purpose, I will be. I said like this is how it has to be. So those in real world there will be a different scenarios and different things actually. No, it's not mandatory to have a four zeros. Blockchain papers also uploaded in the. Okay. So what is mining? Mining is actually what I just showed you. Mining is like just validating a certain transaction. For example, right now, if some person is transferring the money or something to person B, just like that in a world, many people will be transferring. There will be a lot of transactions. All these transactions will first go to the unconfirmed pool. So from here, the people will be taking all these transactions and they will be adding it to the block. For example, right now, think this is one transaction, this is one transaction, and this is one transaction. Like that, people will start verifying each and every transactions over here, and the confirmed transactions will be put into this block. How they put into this block, how they verify is like just making this non solving some mathematical puzzles. Right now, what the mathematical puzzles I have is I need to make it as a four zeros by just increasing the nonce number. This is one mathematical puzzle right now I have in this particular example or in this particular exercise. So I will be keep on increasing to make it four zeros. So this is a mathematical puzzle I am solving. This is like, just like that the Bitcoin will be having their own mathematical puzzles and they will be solving. And this process of validating it, once I make this starts with the four zeros in this particular example, this is called as sign. That's why the whole color is green. If I change even a one data over here, for example here, so here right now it's not signed, it's not validated. Again, I need to mine this to make it validated. Right now, my rules to make it validated, it starts with four zeros. So again, I'll start mining in the sense just validating these transactions by solving mathematical puzzles. So right now I solved this at this nonce. If I add this data to this hash, so I will get another hash that is starts with the four zeros. Understood? Is there any mathematical function for calculation of four zeros per hash? No, I didn't actually get your question actually. I'm so sorry, like I didn't understand what exactly mathematical calculation of four zeros per hash. No, actually, like, see, what exactly I'm trying to show here in the sense, see, this is one of the methodology. Like, this is a very simple way of explaining you people how exactly these mathematical puzzles will be. So, like Bitcoin, how the Bitcoin mathematical puzzles works, it's a very different kind of situations. This is just like how exactly a blockchain in general. I'm giving an example, right? So I have taken a very simple. Ash are a very simple mathematical puzzle. I'm showing how exactly this mining works over here. It depends upon the things. For example, right now I have a difficulty of two. In the sense, two in the sense I need only four zeros. Think like I need eight zeros in the sense again the difficulty level will be very huge. If you can see this nonce, it is only taking like some six digits or like one digit to some six or eight digits. But like since the difficulty increases, right now the even the nonces will be keep on increasing. So that is why the Bitcoin at the early ages was used to mine coins from just a PC or computer or whatever it is. Right now, you need some big ASIC hardware things to just mine a Bitcoin. So right now, like as the Bitcoin grows, as the halving happens in a Bitcoin or any other currencies, the Bitcoin this works only in the proof of work consensus, all the consensus protocols. But like in the other protocols like proof of stakes and all, the theory of mining is different. What we are right now seeing is it's called a proof of work, where you need to put some energy over there, or you want to spend some amount to gain some amount. This is a concept of proof of work. But this is what the right now the Bitcoin blockchain and the Ethereum blockchain is following on. So this is how the mining actually works here. Any other?
Hello, Ajay sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Sir, you continue.
Hello.
At the last 5 minutes, we will give the chat questions.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So right now we saw what exactly is like how this block and blockchain distributed tokens and all these things works. Right now the question is like, what if someone just tries to be ours? For example, I am myself Ajay Kumar. I have some $100, sorry, 100 BTCs in my account, and some person will just take my account name and just do a transactions. And unfortunately, it's not possible on the blockchain. We'll just see like how it is not possible. So I think you people might be know about these two things, like public and private key and the signing. What exactly is a private key? Is just a random number which is just generated. This private key is just like my password for anything, and it has to be with me. And we will be having something called as public key. This is just like a email address. We can just share this email address or the just a username. Anyone can find us just by using this private key and public key. So let us see what exactly this signature is. So right now I have a message. Let me just type hello world. So I can sign this message with my private key. So I will get a ciphertext. This is called a ciphertext. So this message hello world is signed with my private key, and I got this message. So this message, like, this is called a ciphertext because like I can't again retrieve back to this original thing unless and until I have the a private key. I can't do that without a private key. So I have a message here. So right now I can just verify using my public key hello world. So this is verified. For example, even if your private key changes to even a one or some other public key, you can't verify this thing. In the sense, I can't decrypt this message. This is how it works. So you will use a private key to encrypt. Sorry, you will use a key to encrypt it, and you will use another key to decrypt the same messages. This is a signature. So how we can use this in a transaction? So I'll say right now this is a public address of a one person, that is me, and this is a public address of some other person. This is how the things will be represented in a blockchain. There won't be any name, there won't be anything. It is just some random numbers given to you. From here only we can just send. For example, if you want to send money to another person, you will be just sending the money to another one of the public address. It's not like I will be sending money to some account or something. This is the account number. So I will be sending money like $100 to from this account to this account, and I will be signing this. I got this signing message. So this message we can verify with the we have a signature here. Uh, with the public key we can just with this public key we can just verify if that is correct or not. If you even change this thing, you can't just verify because like the public key is default. So how we are using it in a blockchain? So right now you have a blocks, you have a 3 to 4 peers here. So peer 1, peer 2, and peer 3. So just take an example of the peer 3. Right now there is a transaction from this address to this address. If someone wants to try something over here, if he wants to change to 105, not only the block is not changed, even the signature is changed. Why the signature is changed? In the sense, this is not the signature, this is not the private key or the public key which is used to generate this hash. So right now you just need to, even if you mines also, you can't make this thing proper. Only the person who is having that private key, for example, if I am the owner of the transaction, only I can do that thing. Unless and until I can't, because see, even if you mine it properly also, the signature will be wrong here. So it is not at all taken into consideration. So if I am the owner of the transaction, if I am the one who is sending the money, only I have the right to own that private key, and only I have the right to change it. But like again, the blockchain, if you change it, you need to again spend more time to mine this thing. So like this is how the blockchain is more tamper proof, or why the mutation is not at all possible in blockchain. So we all get to know about what exactly is a blockchain, and we get to see the live demo of how exactly the blockchain works in the real world. So right now we have blockchain, and we have cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, we have Ethereum. Like we'll just start like how exactly it's all started. This exactly started with this message. The Times, January 3rd, 2009, with the name Chancellor on brink of second bailout of Fairbanks. Actually, this is the birth of internet revolution. The people calls. We'll just see why it is called as. So this is the first block of Bitcoin. This is the first block of Bitcoin, which is done by Satoshi Nakamoto. So we'll just see who is Satoshi Nakamoto and his history. As you can see, there is a $50, 50 BTCs, which is transferred to this address. So as you can
Sir,
see, this is
your
the
screen is not shared, sir. Not able to view
Okay.
your screen.
it's showing it's shared.
Yes, sir.
Is it not?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir. Carry on, sir.
Okay. This is the first block of the Bitcoin. So right now we can see there is a hash for it. So here you can see there is the hash starts with this many of zeros. As I explained it over there, it was only what do you say, 4 zeros, but here it starts with some more zeros. This is the confirmations in the sense, after this particular block, these many blocks have been generated. So these many blocks have been confirmed. I'll just get back to you that this is the timestamp, the date which has been created, that is January 3rd, 2019 at 23:45, that is 11:45. So this is the height. Since it is the first block, the genesis block, the height is 0, and the number of transaction, it is having only one transaction, and the difficulty you can see 1.00, and this is the Merkle root of that thing. So this version is also 0.1 and all the things, and this transaction block reward, in the sense this transaction is for the 0, but the mining fee, in the sense the block fee, is 50 BTCs, and which is made unspent for no reason. I don't know like why it is made unspent. Still it is a question which is not having any answer to it. So but the thing is like right now, the thing is like Satoshi, as we all know, Satoshi Nakamoto is the one who introduced the concept of Bitcoin, although it is not a very first blockchain based currency which we are, or the cryptocurrency which we are using now. There were already the previous cryptocurrencies were there, but we will just see that like what and all the cryptocurrencies. But according to the right now the standards, we consider the Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, and it is the first cryptocurrency to accept by all the peoples. So this is the hash of this. This is the signature of this thing. If you just copy this signature, so this is in a X format, so we can just use online X2 ASCII editor to just decode that what exactly it is. This is the message which is encoded by Satoshi Nakamoto to the whole world. So like why exactly he created the, so you can see the Times 3rd Jan 2019, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for tanks. This is the message he encoded in that. So let us see what exactly is this message. You people might have known about the 2008 financial crisis. So this is the newspaper. On that newspaper, on that day, January 3rd, 2019, the day which Satoshi Nakamoto was mining this coin, that was the headlines. The chancellor on brink of second bailout for grants. So I just wanted to confirm it, like the day I'm mining this coin, and it is having all the other second meaning also why Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to bring this revolution into this world is just because of to eliminate these third party adversaries or third party institutions, because like you people might be heard of 2008 financial crisis, what and all happened with these financial institutions. So this is one of the reason why these things has came up. So this is the reason why Bitcoin cryptocurrency has came up. So right now we get to know what exactly this Bitcoin and what exactly is a cryptocurrency. We'll just look into it now. Cryptocurrency is digital or virtual currency which is secured by cryptography, which makes it impossible to double spend or counterfeit. This is a very promising answer. Cryptocurrency doesn't actually exist; it's a virtual currency. Uh, which is actually secured by cryptography and which makes it impossible to double spend and counterfeit. We will be getting back to this double spend. What exactly is a double spend? This is a very huge problem in the world of digital currencies or virtual currencies. So the Bitcoin is the first person, or the Bitcoin blockchain is the first cryptocurrencies to solve this double spend attack. So let us just analyze what exactly is a crypto and currency. So crypto, we all know crypto is a cryptographical algorithms we will be using to secure. Even there is a crypto people, even they are like against these things, like stop calling cryptocurrency as a crypto because it's not actually a crypto. Cryptography is actually a Greek word which is used to which actually means to hide something or something. But like right now we are using cryptography in a blockchain for a different reason. We are not just using to hide the transactions or something. We are just using it to validate the transactions or just proving the ownership. And currency can be anything. Currency can be tradable system of money. As you can see, whatever you agree upon, everything is considered as a currency. For example, it can be a coupons. You people will be getting it in a Paytm or phone pay, whatever it is, even that will be having an agreeable amount. So that is also a kind of currency. So this is what exactly the cryptocurrency is. So we'll just since I have very less time, so I'll just rushing it up. So right now we have Bitcoin. What exactly is Bitcoin? I'll just go with a little bit of Bitcoin, how it started, what is the history of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was actually invented in 2008 by a group of people or a person who goes with the name Satoshi Nakamoto. Till today, no one knows who exactly the founder or who exactly invented Bitcoin. So still, this guy I'm so sorry. Satoshi Nakamoto is anonymous. No one exactly knows whether he is a person or whether this is a team name or this is a group of people who invented Bitcoin. No one knows who exactly this thing. But like when Satoshi Nakamoto posted about this Bitcoin as a e-cash peer-to-peer cryptocurrency called Bitcoin, so all cryptographers become very excited for this thing and it started growing. So Satoshi Nakamoto has only one thing in his mind, to just remove financial institutions who are a third-party financial institutions who are actually controlling our transactions today. For example, if you want to send money from one person to other person without the interfere of the third party institution like insurance agencies, banks, or any other financial institutions, you can't send any amount to other persons. So right now the world is like that. So Satoshi Nakamoto's idea was to make a one system or a digital payment where there will be no third party person who will be operating my money. So I will be independent of my own money and I will be doing whatever I want to make with my money. So this is the whole idea behind why the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency was started. But in January 2009, I just showed the first block, which is on January 3rd, 2009, the first ever the Bitcoin currency based on the it was launched, blockchain was launched. But right now everyone like things like 2009, this is the start of the blockchain or this is the start of the Bitcoin. but that is not true. Before Bitcoin, we had a cryptocurrencies. The one is called as Geek Gold, which was in 1996 actually. Even that was very famous because at that time only those people will be giving a SSL security for those websites, and those people will be giving the APIs for other peoples to implement it. Right now, we people will be having from PayPal or Razorpay, PayUmoney, and all these peoples. Just like that, those peoples did it in 1996. But like this e-gold is just a asset-based money, so they have a gold for that. They will be issuing a token, and these tokens will be exchanged online or all these things. And but after due to like some illegal activities which is observed in that e-gold network, US authorities might be FBI seized this online service called e-gold. And there is one more person, his name is Nick Szabo. He is actually called as he started something. It doesn't add a solution of double spending problem actually. So right now Bitcoin is the first digital decentralized cryptocurrency to solve this double spending problem. So what exactly is double spending problem? So let us quickly look into what exactly is a double spending problem. uh, so what exactly is a double spending problem? In the sense, think I have some $100 or I have some 100 rupees. Right now, I'll go to a store, say it as a coffee day. I'll just give the $100 to him, and I will buy a coffee. This is a confirmation is very quick. So like I will be giving him 100 rupees, so I will get to know, okay, this person is giving 100 rupees. Okay, this is a valid note. So this confirmation is successful. He will hand over me the coffee which I deserve. So right now this works very easily because there is a human over there to just verify whether the note is proper and all. But how we can do it in a digital platform? So right now, what happens? Except example in a Bitcoin, say like I have a same 100 rupees, but it is in a Bitcoin. I think it is a one BTC or one Bitcoin. So I'll just go to the Starbucks or the coffee day and I'll tell here my one BTC. Just give me a tea or just give me a cup of coffee. So just after this thing, what I will be doing. So right now, as soon the transaction starts, it will go for the unconfirmed pool. So again, I have only one BTC. So that BTC I already spent. Again, I will try to spend the same amount to other person. So even this, the transaction B also will go for the untransaction pool. Whichever the person, whichever the miners takes the transaction, whether if they take the transaction A first, the A in the sense the Starbucks amount will be confirmed, or else if I transfers to other person, the second transaction will be confirmed. So it is a very like it's a very 50-50 winning movement. So like already the merchant already hand over me the coffee, but he didn't get the bill back. So how this Bitcoin is solving this problem in the sense, so after each transaction, if the merchant gets, there is something called as confirmations. Like the each and every merchant should get 6 confirmations. The 6 confirmations in the sense, after this particular transaction, there has to be a 6 confirmations in the sense 6 other blocks has to be mined after this. Then only it is called as a successful block or successful transactions. So this is how the blockchain or the Bitcoin is solved this double spend problem. So what exactly happens? Like even if this is the thing, like how we can take advantage of this double spend problem. So there are two things you can do to take advantage of this. One of 50 will be too many complications, and it's not a worth of that time to spend all this money just to won some of the few pennies or few monies. So 51% attack is highly impossible till today. It's been like more than 11 years, I guess, for the uh, Bitcoin. Till today, there is nothing called as 51% ever happened. And one more is a race attack. The race attack only happens like for example, you spend you just transfer a money to one person, just immediate, you will transfer a money to yourself. So if the miners, instead of taking your transaction, instead of taking the merchant transaction, if they take your transaction and if they confirms your transactions, you won't be spending your money to, like, you won't be spending that money to buy something, so you will be just transferring your money back to yourself. And this is also very rare condition. Till today it's never happened. So this is all about the blockchain and Bitcoin. We have something more actually, that is called as Ethereum. That is a very unique step, and that is a very innovative thing in a blockchain, because like all these things right now we're only concentrating on, if you want to do something, you just need to make your own blockchain from a scratch, and all these things were there. But what Ethereum, the Vitarin Vitalik is the founder of Ethereum. In the year 2015, he came up with a very innovative idea to bring blockchain inside a blockchain. That is a smart contracts inside a blockchain, where you can just code and upload your own codes, and these codes will be acting accordingly what, like how it has to be. So tomorrow we will be in the next session. That is tomorrow we will be seeing what exactly is a Ethereum and what exactly is a smart contracts, how to write a smart contract, and how we can hack into smart contract and all these things in the next sessions. So any questions for this session? Yeah, like yeah, quantum computing right now, yeah, there's a question like using quantum computing 51% could be achieved. It depends, like quantum computing, like if you have all these things, like you need to, if you spend all this amount, is it worth to do that 51% attack? That is the very very question it arises actually. So it can be possible. I am not sure, like, because the blockchain will be keep on increasing. The Bitcoin blockchain or any blockchain will be keep on increasing. If it is a very new blockchain, it is a very new blockchain. It is, of course, it is possible, but you need to see the outcome also, right? For example, if you are spending some crores of rupees just to earn some lakh of rupees, no one will be doing it. Blockchain, which crypto algo is more useful in education? No, this is not, like, it's not a crypto algo. For example, the Bitcoin uses hashing of SHA-256, and the encryption algorithm they use asymmetric. So like it is like it depends upon your thing. Like if you are making your own blockchain from a scratch, it's all yours. Like you can choose whatever you want and you can build. Which databases can be used in blockchain? Like blockchain itself is a database, it's just a storing of data, but like it's not like other databases. For example, take example of MongoDB and this thing, just think like it's a MongoDB databases which doesn't have any, it's only having a write permissions. After certain thing you can't update it, or you can only read and write to the database, but you can't edit it. That's what the blockchain is. It is also a database. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much. If you people have any other questions, you can just ping me over there. And this is a very basic thing about the blockchain. I hope you all understood. So tomorrow there will be no. Can miner dominate? Very good question. Can miner dominate the whole network? No, they can't. That is why I said like. The miner, one miner can't do that. Like if they collaborate, all the miners start collaborating, say like there are 50 nodes or something. In that 50 nodes, say some 30 people will say, okay, we will dominate the whole network, we will make it as a thing, this is a 51%, and we will re-standardize something and all. So at that moment what happens, if they start doing it, what and all the money they have, even that money will be under risk. So the miners can't dominate the whole network and all. They can't do it. Does blockchain use? No, no. Okay. Thank you guys. Tomorrow it will be even more a very interesting topic because like we will be having some uh, the live sessions of how we can hack into some other's account, how we can steal the money to our account. All these things will be there. Tomorrow's session will be very exciting. So I hope we'll be meeting tomorrow. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.
So thank you, sir. Thank you, Ajay, sir. So I think the
Thank you.
session is over. So there are some. So no issue. As usual, I'll share the chat logs to you. So no problem. There are
Okay,
some
sir.
questions. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So participants,
Thank you, sir.
we'll end the session as it is, and then tomorrow's session will be starting on time as per the schedule. Thank you so much. Bye, sir.
Thanks.
Yeah.